Hello, everyone. Today I'll be reading you an excerpt from a story that I'm writing. It's kind of inspired by Goosebumps, so it is in the adventure, imaginary, slash horror genre, if you can call it that. Now, if you do listen to it, I would really appreciate it if you rate it in the comments using the scale that I mentioned there. Thank you so much, and I hope you have fun. Chapter 1. It was a dark and stormy night. The occasional clap of thunder sent a chill down my spine. Okay, I admit I was scared. Just because it's a game doesn't mean the thunder sounds different, especially when it's a game you're stuck in. For a moment I wished I had picked the gardening game instead. Suddenly the wind stopped hitting my face. Something in front of me was blocking it. I was so busy thinking to myself that I hadn't noticed the figure until it was so close I could feel its breath. I let out a scream and started running backwards. How could I have forgotten that the game was filled with zombies? The figure groped wildly, hungry for flesh. I kept running. In only a few seconds the figure was out of sight. On a night like this, that basically means just a few feet. I wasn't relieved. With such poor visibility, anything could sneak up on me, any time. I started walking backward towards the hilltop, hoping that higher ground would give me some sense of security. Maybe it would also give me an idea of how to escape back to the real world. I've had enough for a day, I told myself. I knew that after a few minutes the console would be turned off and it would all be over. That couldn't have been further from the truth. Surprisingly, when I reached the hilltop, I found a small shed with a painted sign saying supplies. I also realized that I was not alone. My friend Nash had gotten there much earlier and he had already stuffed himself with anything he could use against the zombies. That included guns and grenades, which none of us had ever used before. It seems simple enough when it's just pressing a key on the keyboard, but when you have to do it yourself, it's not a piece of cake. I wasn't so sure about this. "What are you waiting for?" Nash said. "They won't be gone for long." I thought to myself for a while, but in the end I stuffed my pocket with a few smoke grenades. We barely had enough time to catch our breath. I could hear the moaning sounds coming from every direction. The supplies cabin was a death trap. "Let's get out of here," I said. Dying is not a great experience, not even in a game. If at all it was a game, I wasn't so sure now. Nash didn't argue. He was freaking out too. But where could we go? The moaning sounds were coming from just outside the door. They sounded so sad, so lonely, although there were at least a dozen of them. We were trapped, like animals in a cage, with no way out, until I spotted the ladder. A dusty old ladder sat at the corner of the room. Just above it was a small opening in the wooden roof. A way out! The moonlight was creeping in through the little opening and lighting up the foot of the ladder. Without a word, both Nash and I started running towards it. It was our only hope of getting out of this mess, this trap, our only way to freedom. Just then the door burst open. The moaning sounds were deafening now. The shadows lurched forward slowly, taking one step at a time. What would happen if they got to me, I wondered. I didn't want to wait and find out. The ladder was much weaker than I had imagined. It creaked and groaned under my weight. The roof was pretty high. Nash wasn't so hesitant. He was already halfway up. I didn't know if the ladder was strong enough for both of us. The moaning sounds were getting closer. I had no choice. I tried to get a firm grip and started climbing shakily up the ladder. The wood was wet and slippery. I stumbled twice, almost falling straight into the grasping hands of the zombies. I was almost there, but the sounds were right behind me. Every step seemed more like a mile. I could see the opening clearly now, but the wind and rain kept plunging down on me. I steadied myself and reached for the opening. It was farther than I had thought. I missed and fell back heavily. I could almost feel the grasping hands now, too close for comfort. My time was running out. Finally, I gathered all my strength and jumped. Luckily, I got hold of the opening this time. I kicked the ladder down immediately. The zombies made a sick groan as they fell helplessly over each other. I was free. Free. In a moment I realized how stupid I was. The roof was already swarmed with zombies. So many of them. 1, 2, 3, smack! A zombie slammed my head before I could finish counting. For the first time in this cloudy night, I could see stars. And then everything went black. I was woken up with a jerk as I realized I was falling, fast, straight down. I hit the ground with a soft thud. I had no idea what was happening. For a moment I thought I was out of the game. Chapter 2, Preview. If only it was that easy. Maybe it could have been. But it was too late for me to think about that now. I regretted picking hard mode. The idea of a challenge was exciting then. Now it just filled me with dread. I knew I had failed the first level, and the game had transported me to the underworld. Zombies would be the least of my worries here. I didn't even know what happened to Nash. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to know. He wasn't here. Nobody was. I realized I was in a dark room. Well, more a hall. It was huge. I couldn't even see the roof, if there was a roof. At least nothing was chasing me. For now. I got up and started to feel my way around. What was this place anyway? The only thing I could see was the dim glow of a lantern, far away. I would have thought it was a mirage, if you could see a mirage in the dark. But no, the light was coming from a hallway. I started walking towards it. Why? What else was I supposed to do? Sit and wait? For what? The end of game? Time? Life? No, I had to do something. If I was in a game, might as well keep playing.